During the 2016 presidential election, one of the most talked about aspects of the campaign was the response of several high-profile Hollywood celebrities who promised they would leave the United States if Donald Trump won the presidency. Their dramatic declarations quickly became part of the political discourse, with many wondering whether they would actually follow through on their promises. Now, nearly 8 years later, an expert has weighed in, saying these celebrities were all talk, no walk, when it came to leaving the country. Let's take a closer look at the famous Hollywood figures who made these bold promises, whether they followed through, and why some experts believe their declarations were largely symbolic. The Hollywood promises, a bold statement. In the heat of the 2016 election, several prominent celebrities made headlines with their strong vows to leave the country if Donald Trump won. Among them were figures like Cher, Lena Dunham, Samuel L. Jackson, and Barbra Streisand. Some, like Cher, went so far as to say that they would move to a different country entirely, with Cher even joking that she would move to Jupiter. The media loved the drama of these statements, and many people were quick to share and comment on them. For some, these celebrity declarations served as a form of protest against Trump's rhetoric and the polarizing nature of the election. They painted a picture of celebrities who were so opposed to Trump's candidacy that they would pack up and leave the U.S. altogether. But as we know, Trump won the election, and the question quickly became, did these celebrities actually leave? The reality check, all talk, no walk. Now, several years after the election, the promised mass exodus of Hollywood stars seems to have been nothing more than an empty threat. Experts have weighed in, and the consensus seems to be that these celebrities were simply using their platform for dramatic flair, but never intended to follow through with their declarations. In fact, most of the celebrities who made these promises ended up staying in the U.S., with some even becoming more active in their political engagement. For example, Cher, who said she'd leave for Jupiter, is still very much a fixture in American culture and continues to speak out on political issues. Similarly, Lena Dunham, who vowed to leave if Trump won, has remained in the U.S. and continued her work in film and television. While it's true that some of these stars made their statements in a moment of frustration or as a form of protest, the reality is that none of them packed their bags and left the country. They used the threat of leaving as a dramatic statement, but when push came to shove, they stuck around. Why did they say it? Experts suggest that the celebrities who made these bold declarations likely didn't fully consider the consequences of their words. For them, making a statement about leaving could have been a way to channel their frustration, express solidarity with those who felt threatened by Trump's rise, or to engage their audience in a conversation about the election's impact. The celebrities who made these promises are also used to being in the public eye, so their statements often generate attention, something that can be both a positive and negative force. By saying they would leave the U.S., they align themselves with progressive, anti-Trump sentiment, which reinforced their positions in Hollywood's liberal circles. However, the failure to follow through on these promises can also be seen as a form of political theater. The experts suggest that celebrities like these didn't necessarily believe that leaving the U.S. was a realistic option. It's likely that their public statements were meant to show their disapproval of Trump's political rise, but they had no real intention of following through on their dramatic declarations. The all talk, no walk effect. From an expert's perspective, the phrase all talk, no walk captures the essence of the situation perfectly. Hollywood stars are often seen as larger-than-life figures who have the power to influence public opinion, but they rarely take drastic steps like actually leaving the country when faced with a political outcome they don't like. What's also important to note is that in the years following Trump's election, many of these celebrities remained actively involved in politics, speaking out against the administration or participating in campaigns. For example, Samuel L. Jackson, who was another star who vowed to leave, was outspoken during Trump's presidency, participating in protests and advocacy campaigns. In the eyes of the public, however, this type of behavior diminishes the weight of their original promises. When you say you're going to leave and then don't, it can seem disingenuous or performative, especially when those same celebrities continue to thrive in the U.S. and use their platform to criticize the government. Why didn't they leave? So, why didn't these celebrities leave? there could be a number of reasons. First, the logistics of actually leaving the country are far more complicated than a simple declaration. Moving to another country involves legal, financial, and personal considerations that many of these stars may not have been willing to follow through on. Additionally, these celebrities are often so deeply entrenched in the entertainment industry in the US that leaving could have been professionally and personally disruptive. Hollywood is where their careers are based, and for most, leaving would mean stepping away from the very industry they built their reputations in. Finally, many of these stars likely recognized the impracticality of leaving and simply didn't want to backtrack on their statements. They were, after all, primarily speaking out of frustration with the political climate, and once Trump became president, they were left to focus on advocacy and activism rather than physically leaving the country. Conclusion: the 2016 election created a lot of drama, and the celebrity promises to leave if Trump won were a part of that spectacle. But in hindsight, it's clear that these declarations were largely symbolic. As the experts suggest, they were all talk, no walk. Celebrities like Cher, Lena Dunham, and others used the platform they had to express their opposition to Trump's rise, but when it came down to it, they stayed in the US. While it's understandable that these celebrities were upset with the election results, their failure to follow through on their bold statements highlights a trend in celebrity political discourse: the tendency to make dramatic declarations without real-world consequences. It's a reminder that when it comes to politics, actions often speak louder than words.